Fan Bros.
And welcome back, internets, and for everyone out there who's watching on YouTube, you're not welcome back. You're here for our segment that everyone knows and loves. It's called the GUAC segment, the Geekquently Asked Questions, where we answer each and every listener question, except that one about conferences that we're not going to talk about right now. LeBron James, Jeff. But if you have any other question besides anything to do with cons, having one.
If we want to talk about cons, ask the question.
Oh, come on, man. The question is, will FANBROSSHOW ever do a convention? Not to the never. Ever, ever, never, never.
I wouldn't say ever, ever.
I say never. You know why? Because we do just fine with small to medium type of events. And then if it gets to that point where we need to do something very large, we're going to knock on the door of people who have money. And we're going to make them pay for it.
Shout out to Loudspeaker Network.
Shout out to Loudspeaker Network. Word up, word up. Yeah.
So when are we going to have a convention? We are not having any convention anytime soon.
And if we ever do, it won't be funded by Kickstarter. But if you do have any other questions, please send them in to contact@fanbros.com or hit us on Twitter @FanBrosShow or the Instagram @FanBrosShow. And what do we have up first tonight?
Now they pouring teeth.
Red wine, apparently. First up. First up is a question from DJ Rybread215 that asks, whose has accumulated more wealth? CJ from San Andreas or Tommy Ricchetti from Vice City?
Right away, I was so mad at CJ because he never got out the ghetto. No, you in the game and you're still in the hood. You're still in the hood.
The entire game.
Yo, my man Tommy was buying mansions and yachts. You could have all kinds of stuff with Tommy. CJ was in the hood.
But do you think because CJ was in the hood and stayed in the hood that he saved more money? No, lower rent?
He probably blew all the money on customizations. There's no way. Tommy definitely got more of the money.
He's stuck in a perpetual Pimp My Ride.
CJ was buying spinners. And there's no way he got more money.
Shout out to my man Nico Bellic, who had all the European money flowing through Liberty City.
Yo, Nico Bellic. But Nico Bellic was so grimy.
The God, bro.
Yeah.
So grimy. Nico and CJ were both like, they were like the brothers because neither of them seemed to ever really get that far in life.
Right.
Yeah, but Tommy made it. Like, no, there's no question here. I was so mad. Yo, CJ's whole life is about shooting other gangsters. It was so bad. It was like, oh my God.
It's very stereotypical.
And then we go back to
what do we expect from the first leading black GTA character?
And then we go back to GTA 5 and it's gentrified San Andreas.
Oh my God. Yeah, GTA 5 is hilarious though.
But I love it though. I love
it. Love it.
Those are some games, boy. Those are some
classic. Great question though.
All right. The next one comes from Darian, aka Ratchet and Dank.
Amazing.
Darian writes, hey y'all, E3 is right around the corner. Me personally, I'm hoping to see some gameplay of the new Tomb Raider, and I'm interested in seeing more on Fallout 76. What games announcements are you looking forward to?
Not Fallout 76. Yeah, that was like that's like a leak when it was like, really? Like, that was like unimpressive. Yeah, no, I Fallout's cool, but it's like, it's like, today they dropped a Destiny announcement. It's like, okay, it's like, all right,
is it too much more of the same for you?
There you go. I'm looking for Anthem, obviously. Definitely I'm looking for Anthem, even though that looks like it should be Destiny with flying. So it's like, I don't know. I'm always looking for that new ill joint, the what is it? Cuphead of the new
indie
joint.
Stuff.
Yeah, the new ill indie stuff. The big names, the AAA games, it's hit or miss really, and usually more miss than hit.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is happening, and I want everybody to make sure, everybody listen to make sure that they do, is to make sure you're checking out fanbros.com, because Uncolored Page, with his amazing video game reviews, he's going to be covering every day of E3. And in addition, we have somebody on the ground at E3 who's going to be there every single day. I know DJ Ben Amin's going to be one of them as well. He's you're going to be there like second half of it, right?
Yeah, I'll be out there. You know, I might be playing a few games. You might see me around, you know. So if you see me, say what up. You know, I'll be out at E3. I might have to put it in my Twitter and all that good stuff.
Very good. I'm jealous as hell, by the way. That's been one of my dreams since I was in middle school. Was it middle school when E3 came out? Wait. When did E3 start? Was I in middle school though? Regardless of when it came out, I've always wanted to go. That's been a dream.
Crazy. I mean, I don't know. I'll be more amped once the week rolls up and I know it's really hitting. Right now, I'm like, you know, we'll see. But, you know, I'm not as hyped yet.
I don't ever really get hyped for E3. I get hyped when I start hearing the announcements.
Yeah, that might be what it is.
That being said, I'd love to see some gameplay of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, yes.
Time of that.
Oh, no, I was in elementary school. This shit started in 95.
Wow.
I was definitely elementary school.
Me even going. Yeah, but like she said, make sure and also our Instagram is going to be so lit next week for E3. I mean, it's going to be out of control. So make sure you're following us on there at FANBROSSHOW. And what do we have up next?
Up next, we have from our very own Uncolored Page. He writes, with how the Pusha T and Drake beef went, with Pusha now being called Pusha Thanos, what comic book villain would you be afraid of dissing you?
Deadpool.
Oh yeah,
right away, because he'd be the worst, because he would be that dude who just does not stop.
Yes,
you know, like follow you through the school hallways, just going and going, and half of the jokes would be terrible, but everybody would still be laughing because he would not stop. You know, and he'd find that one thing about you that was just effed up that day, and he would just be going and going and going. And I hated them type of people.
Right. And that's not even a comic book villain. That's the coldest part about it.
Yeah.
But he would be the worst. He would absolutely
be the worst.
Well, would there be like a worse villain though? Like if he came at you with some bars, you'd just be like, fuck.
Damn, the messed up thing right now is all I'm thinking about, because the other person I was going to say is Professor X, who's a villain. So yeah, Professor X, because you know somebody who can read your thoughts and find out everything terrible about you, and then bring that shit to light.
So Ben, I'll see your Professor X and bring you Emma Frost.
Oh,
read your mind.
Because she's vindictive.
She is going to spill tea and scald your skin.
She's vindictive and petty.
Because she doesn't just read your mind. She finds that shit. And she deals you, like she puts the mirror up to your face and then like picks the nastiest, most callous things to say. And it be facts.
And she probably do that and be like, you mad? You mad? You mad?
Oh, I'm lying? Should I read your mind again? Are you going to use a mental inhibitor? Maybe you should next time you try to test me, my dear. Now go on out and play.
But coming from her, I might like that. So I don't know.
Yo, I said it was going to be hard. I didn't say it was going to be bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, Emma Frost, the, you know, white queen, black queen, that's a lot of childhood memories right there for me.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
She gonna be with the toes out and shit.
I'm gonna leave that alone. The next question comes from John the Don.
I like how we just moving on. All right. John the Don.
John the Don questions, or I almost said Thon. John the Thong. Thoughts on Solo? Well, so you guys noticed that we did not have an individually wrapped video specifically to review Solo. There's a reason for that. I know Ben had his own reasons.
I mean, I enjoyed Solo. You know, it was like
I enjoyed Solo.
Yeah,
but it's like, yeah.
But that's
it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I enjoyed it. You know, I thought Donald Glover was great for the brief instances that he was in there.
You sound so convincing.
I mean, honestly, I thought Donald Glover was like, you know, it was good, but it was like,
I thought he was alright.
Yeah,
Like,
it wasn't like, oh my God, now I got to see a Lando film. Really, it was like, oh my God, I really don't need to see any more prequel stories. Like, unless they're like set far away from these people.
Well, I actually preferred to have seen a Lando film to begin with.
Yeah.
And I still want to see a Lando film, but I will say it definitely cooled me down, this story, because I never wanted to see Han Solo in the first place, to be quite honest with you. Like, and when I say that, I don't mean it in a hateful way. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to. No, what I'm saying is I wasn't interested. When people were saying, oh, Solo come out, you excited? I'm like, no. And I wasn't trying to be petty or rude or anything. It's just I legitimately did not have a feeling of longing to see this film. And then when Jeff and I saw it together at a press screening, and when it was over, we were like, yeah, good film. But it wasn't. And perhaps it's because we came off the tidal wave that was Infinity War, and then we had and I don't know if this was before or after we saw Deadpool, but we basically had very high, lofty feelings from these other movies that we came off of. And then we saw Solo, and it was kind of like, okay. It at least that's how I felt. I didn't feel like I reached some precipice of entertainment. It was just like, oh, okay, cool. This is mid-level. I'm good. See y'all later.
Yeah, well, with me, I enjoyed Solo, and I think it's cool to enjoy a movie and not be overhyped about it. If it's good, it's good. Yeah. I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll appreciate it more than somebody coming off the street who knows nothing about Star Wars and is watching the film. To someone who doesn't know anything about Star Wars, I mean, like nothing.
Oh, they're not gonna like this.
It's a generic white male-led sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
But for anybody who hasn't seen it, but for me, finding out about the Kessler Run and how he won
he got his name.
How he got his name, where he got the influence to be the person that who he is, why he is basically a dude who puts up a good face, but that facade hides somebody who's been hurt for most of his life. You find out a lot about the Solo character. I didn't ask for the movie,
right?
But I got it. It's just like, once again, you go over to your grandmother's house and she's scooping the food, and you're like, all right, grandma, that's good. And she goes, okay. And just keep scooping and keep scooping. You're going to eat it because you're not trying to get kicked out the crib, but you didn't ask for it. But it's all right. So it's a win-win for me. What I will say is, I think a lot of those characters were kind of like meh, because the characters they based off of
were meh.
Like, think about some of the most iconic people in Star Wars. That original, well, quote unquote original, episodes 4 through 6 didn't do anything other than have great costumes. There was no real character development. There was no real impetus to be who they are. Lando Calrissian was dope because Billy D. Williams was playing Lando Calrissian. So we basically had Colt 45 2085. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that's just what it is. And I think what these new, like, episodes 7, 8, and 9 are, and eventually 9, are showing is that they recognized it, are using lore and the build of the lore from novels and comics and cartoons, and adding substance and putting different people in the forefront. Because think about Last Jedi. They wrapped up that whole Star Wars story in Last Jedi, like where for now the Jedi era is pretty much over, and now you really have something new to go off of with episode 9, where you have a whole new path, no more Skywalkers, and you're moving how you're gonna move,
right?
And a lot of people, like, we like to hold on to nostalgia that sucks because it's ours, and when we watch it at a certain time, it evokes feelings of familiarity and love, because we love things that suck. We love trash things, but for when we saw them when we were younger, or when we were in a different mind state, and then when they don't age well, it's okay. It's like, the family member or the spouse that you can see past their physical flaws and appreciate who they are. There's a lot of appreciation for what Star Wars is, and not enough real talk about what it was, period, in a vacuum, when you talk about the plot holes and the writing. You know what I mean?
I do agree with you on some of that, but I will say, like, if you talk about characters, the original trilogy, you could see very well developed characters versus something like
who?
prequels.
Like who?
Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and
no,
Leia.
but he was naming like Lando, and
yeah, but Lando's a peripheral.
Lando, Vader was a developed character in the original.
Even hold on. Even in the original, Vader's a very developed character. Vader has a very, he has an arc. Vader goes. His arc is his redemption, is him going from the dark side and then Luke eventually redeeming him. Him seeing Luke dying at the hands of the Emperor and realizing that's not the path he wants to go on.
You got all of that out of those 3 movies.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. I mean, and you can even get a lot. That's why, like, you didn't let me finish. Like, if you compare those to the prequels, you can see very undeveloped characters in the prequels. Because if I asked you about who Han Solo is, there's even a great video by Red Letter Media about this, where they if I asked you about Han Solo, you can name a lot of different character traits. Princess Leia, same thing. Luke Skywalker, same thing. If I asked you about Amidala.
Abdullah
sounds like somebody who sells DVDs in Harlem.
But yeah, okay. So there are, I get what you're saying, but there is, the original things aren't perfect. No, and I'm not one of those people who are like, oh my God, this is the greatest. I think Empire Strikes Back is fantastic. I think the Star Wars is great, and Return of the Jedi is cool, but it's like, they're not like, where you said just empty films with empty stuff to remember just because of nostalgia. They also do have some weight to them and also some greatness to them.
Boba Fett was a snitch who didn't do anything in those 3 films.
I literally said that name.
And they're gonna make a movie out of him. So
yeah, I know, that's insane.
He's an action figure in space.
That is, yeah. All right. Next question.
I'm just saying.
Next question is from Philip Winslow.
A Leia movie, folks. A Leia movie.
Listen.
A Leia prequel. It's
so
not
it would be
hard.
So you'd say it'd be a layup for them to do a Leia movie.
It's not that difficult. A prequel Leia story, or even Leia after Return of the Jedi and all that time in between, it's not that difficult.
Last question is coming from Philip Winslow. Philip writes, Hasbro has announced new Power Rangers film. If we get a reboot, should we get another new adaptation or the Boom Studios interpretation of the original series? Which, if you haven't read, is amazing. They've expanded the Power Rangers universe in ways I could never imagine.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about that. I've heard a lot of good things, and I didn't expect to hear a lot of good things about a Power Rangers. Because once again, when I talked about we like to hold on to a nostalgia that didn't age well. Power Rangers, for the most part, like the original series.
Oh my God.
I was a Tommy stan. Green Ranger era.
I love Green. I was about to say Green Ranger.
I will fight if you say it stinks. We will engage in fisticuffs if you
so terrible.
I only mess with Tommy.
White Ranger slander. My man who was the Black Ranger, who was the
great dancing in his
dancing, doing a body roll with
my man had a cross colors. He had the red, yellow, green stripes going up and down. He was set.
From what I've heard about the Boom Studios thing, the expansion of the universe and actually like how good it is. Yeah,
that heard is fire.
Whatever the Boom Studios version is, yes, please.
Right.
Or fuck it, that dark version that's been going around.
Yeah, but that's what everyone's been saying. But here's the problem. Because Hasbro's picking it up. This is Hasbro we talking about. What else does Hasbro do that's a very big franchise that is trash every single year?
G.I. Joe.
Okay, another one. Name one. The main one.
Transformers.
That's what it is.
Sweatshops.
Transformers.
It doesn't stop. But the new Bumblebee trailer though. The Bumblebee. You ain't seen that Bumblebee trailer?
Yo, I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I was a little enticed to watch the movie. I was a little enticed. It seems like it has feeling.
They almost dropped me up until they played
Never Gonna Give You.
Yeah, right then I was like, F this movie.
That's what I'm saying. I don't trust them.
Lost me right there. Lost me. It's the 80s.
But Bumblebee kicked it out. He wanted to hear that Pusha. If you know, you know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I actually liked that last Power Rangers movie. I have never read the
I did too.
series. Yeah, I like that one. So I wouldn't be mad at a continuation of that.
But they're not. They're gonna.
That's done.
They're gonna. I mean, unfortunately, because I do think while obviously it had its problems, that last year or 2 years ago now, that movie actually had some weight to. Like it could have went somewhere with it. It just needed better writing, but it wasn't all bad. Like it wasn't. It was actually pretty enjoyable, and it had enough of the nostalgia, but more of the modernization to it that it could have been a relevant story going forward. But we see that that's dead. So
yeah, that's dead. So, and by the time they actually get the cast and all those actors have moved on. Everybody have moved on. So, you know, Bryan Cranston ain't coming back. His voice of what's his name again?
Sword on. That was a waste of time.
I mean,
like, come on.
It's that like, you know, my man was coming off of Breaking Bad. He was getting them checks. Bryan Cranston was like, give me that bag. Give me that bag. He was not caring where.
He's doing his mortgage movies.
Hey, I ain't mad.
I really just preferred if he ended up being Lex. That would have made my day. But, you know, they had to age everybody down. So,
yeah, we missed that one, folks.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it for the guac.
All right. So if you have any questions at all, you can hit us up, contact at fanbros.com or on the Twitter or Instagram at FANBROSSHOW. And we'll be right back to finish up this episode.